Hello, everyone. My name is Cameron, and welcome to this edition of Connected by Community, brought to you by Ballantine Capital Advisors. Here with me today, I have my co-host, Anthony Colancheco, and we are excited to have Dawn Lavoie from Little Steps, South Carolina with us today. Dawn, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for letting me be here today.
So we got to know each other a little bit before. If you would, maybe just tell us, from here originally. Did you move here? Think you might be a Northerner?
I am a Northerner.
How'd you end up here? And, professionally, personally, got kids?
Sure.
Talk about all that.
Sure. I grew up in the Boston area, and one winter was particularly horrible. And my husband and I said, that's it, we're done. We're moving to the South. And kind of ironically, we went online, did some random quiz to find out where you want to move. And both of us got Greenville as in our top 10. So we took a ride down here, flew down here. It was February. It was freezing in Boston. And it was about 75 degrees here. We took one walk through Falls Park, and we were sold. We said, okay, that's it. We're packing up the kids. We're
16 years ago, though, was a lot different than...
Yes. Yeah, the growth here has been amazing. The changes that we've seen, it's been great, though. We wouldn't move from here, really. We love the Greenville area. We've raised our 4 kids here. Our last one is going into high school now. So we've kind of been here raising family, doing all the things, and enjoying all that Greenville has to offer.
Well, it's funny you say that. So I'm actually part of the Greenville Chamber, and I was talking with somebody the other day. They had just moved here maybe 2 years ago. Very similar story. They're from up north. They went online because, Greenville, unfortunately, and I guess fortunately, is on all of these lists of
right.
Best places to move, best retirement, whatever. So they saw that, and they were like, we'll go check this Greenville place out. Same thing. They went to Falls Park. The guy said he'd never seen a waterfall before, which, I guess you consider that a waterfall.
Right.
And loved it. Packed up their stuff, moved here. They've been here for 2 years now, opened a gym, and just kind of love it. So it's funny. You were 16 years ago. They were, a year or two ago, and it's still happening today. So I guess that's good for new people, and maybe not so good for people like myself.
Weather. Can't beat the people. it's
no snow.
No snow. And, you just really can't beat Greenville. It's a really nice place to be.
Awesome. Well, talk to us a little bit about Little Steps and, what it is, what your role is there, and, give our audience a little overview of that if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. So I am the executive director of Little Steps. We have been around for 17 years now. We are working with young parents who are between the ages of 13 to 24, and we are equipping them with the tools to ensure that their children have a bright future. So we are doing that through a few avenues. We have our peer groups. That is where we are doing our programming. We are using the Nurturing Parenting program, which is based on reducing the risk level of abuse and neglect. So that is happening in a group setting. What is happening with these parents then is that they're building their network of support. So when you're a teenager and you have a child, chances are the friends that you had before you got pregnant are going to be doing totally different things than you are when you have that baby. And so you still need your village. Every parent needs a village. And so what we're doing is making sure that they're making connections with other young parents in the community that they can learn, from each other and grow their village. We also have a parenting support specialist. She is working directly with the participants on a one-on-one basis. And so when the participant comes to us, we have an extensive enrollment appointment. And we are asking them all kinds of questions about their home environment, their schooling, what kind of a parent that they want to be, what other services might they need. And we're connecting them with any other services in the community that we don't offer that someone else does. And we're just really meeting them where they're at. Wherever they're coming to us, we're going to help them from that point forward. So Melina, our parenting support specialist, she meets with them and offers case management on a one-on-one basis monthly for the entire time that they're with us. And oftentimes what will happen is once they're done with our program, they stay connected with us, talking to her, talking to me, talking to somebody that they've made a connection with in the program. And so the other aspect that we have not been able to do for the past 2 years because of COVID is our parent-child enrichment. We like to have our young parents and their children come in and do activities so we can show them age-appropriate activities to do with their kids. And then it's a non-judgmental meeting of parents who are all young. A lot of times there is some hesitation to go to a mom and me group because they are so young, they feel that they're going to be judged. And so we're trying to create that atmosphere for them within Little Steps when they've already built a relationship with us. So those 3 components are really, really the foundation of our program. And it's about 18 weeks long. So it's a big commitment for them to make to come to us. But once they're done, like I said, a lot of times they're staying connected with us. They're not quite ready to leave yet.
What one, how do young parents actually find you all? And I would think, I wasn't that young having a kid, but I would think they would be a lot more scared to kind of reach out to someone. Is it their parents helping? How's that process sort of?
So there are a few different ways that the parents are coming to us. So one of them is the social workers through Greenville County Schools. They are identifying pregnant and parenting students and then referring them over to us. The other way is a lot of the OBGYN clinics, once they're finding out they're pregnant, the nurses and the staff are giving them resources. Call these people, see what they can help you with. Some of the parents are self-referring. We have a referral form right on our website that they can refer themselves. And I think that has been beneficial because we are working with a generation that doesn't want to pick up the phone and make a phone call. So if I can fill out this form and have somebody else text me back, that's less intimidating. So those are a couple of the ways. Our former participants are our biggest advocates because they know what we have to offer. So a lot of times they will also be referring over to us.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I love what you guys are doing. Personally, is there any other program like this in Greenville, or are you guys kind of like the forefront of this, opportunity for young parents and kind of getting these resources?
Yeah. So there are other parenting programs in the community, but we are the only ones that are specifically working with the teenagers.
Awesome. One question I wanted to ask too is there any, I guess, can you elaborate more on like all of the classes and kind of some of the stuff that you're going through, obviously at such a young age, and even that kind of large age range of 13 to 24, are you helping them with, hey, here's some, smart financial decisions when it comes to, places to live and a budget, and maybe you don't need to go buy a new car, and, maybe on the back end too, trying to help them, hey, you probably should finish school or at least try to get, a GED, or have you thought about college, babysitters? I guess, how does that work, balancing all of that? Because I can only imagine, I mean, that's my age range, all of those emotions of having a newborn child, and then also trying to figure out your life and what you're going to do, financially as well.
Yeah. So let me start with the age range because I think that seems very broad. 13 to 24 is very broad. And I will give you an example. One group that we had several years ago had a 13-year-old who had a 6-month-old little girl. And we had a 24-year-old who was pregnant and getting ready to deliver her first child. And so that 24-year-old said, well, I don't want to be in this group with this 13-year-old, she's still a child. And essentially she is. And I said, I think that you both have a lot to learn from each other. You're a college student. And so you can sort of, help her understand the importance of staying in school, because she is now only in 9th grade. I actually think it was the summer she was getting ready to go into 9th grade. And so she has a lot to learn about why is it important to stay in school? Why is it important to go, further your education beyond that? What kind of an impact is that going to have on your child long term? And I said, but she also can teach you what it's like to be a parent. She has gone through childbirth. She has been parenting for 6 months now, and you don't know what that's going to be like. And she can offer you information that she has that you don't have yet. So that age range can be scary, but at the same time, we are all bringing something to the table regardless of our age. We are all parents, and we're all just trying to do the best that we can for our kids. So that's really how that can work to our benefit.
Yeah, one thing that sparked my imagination on that too is like, you have a 13-year-old, which has already gone through it, like you said, for 6 months. And it's almost probably encouraging for the 24-year-old, even though, it's a big age range. She's like, okay, in the back of her mind, she's doing it, that's almost like a big encouragement for her. And then also on the back end, it's an encouragement for the 13-year-old, like, hey, I can make it through school. And here's some tips and tricks with, managing school and a child and stuff like that as well. So it's, like you said, it's kind of give and a take on both sides.
And it's just one more person to encourage them. It's one more person to say, hey, you've got this. You're doing a great job. Keep doing it.
Do you also work with the children's parents?
The teenagers' parents?
Yes.
So that's a great question. And that is something that we're working on right now. We are looking to expand our programming. A lot of our parents that we're working with still live with their parents or guardians or grandparents. And so really what we're trying to do is we want to make sure that all of us are on the same page with how this child is going to be raised, the environment that we're going to have this child in, so that they have a good start in life. And that, good environment is following them through, into adulthood. The only way we can make that happen is if everybody in the home is on board. And so that is something that we're working on right now, is how do we incorporate those people along with their young people to make sure that everybody has the same information.
And what impact has Little Steps made on your life?
On my life? Well, personally, I was a young mom. I would have fallen into that demographic. I was 21. I was married, thought I knew what we were doing. Having a baby at 21, completely did not know what I was doing. And I was in that age range where all my friends were in college and I had a baby and everybody was going out partying. And they almost had pity for me. You have a baby, you can't come out. I was not sad to be home with my baby, but what I was sad about was that I didn't have that network of friends who also were home with their babies. And so I think that for me, if I had the opportunity to have other moms around me or other families who were young like we were, I think that would have been helpful. And I think it's interesting because almost every person who has worked at Little Steps over the past 17 years, almost every intern we've had has been either affected because they had a young mom or a young parent themselves. So I think that's an interesting aspect of working there.
Well, that actually brings me into one question that I had. How are you guys picking and choosing and I guess like the volunteers and the people that work there? I know you just mentioned a lot of them have been affected by that. Is that kind of across the board? That's how that works, and they just kind of want to either get involved or give back? I guess, can you speak on that as well?
Yeah, so a lot of our volunteers that want to work specifically with our young parents, we have several different volunteer opportunities, but the ones that want to work specifically with our young parents are the ones who were probably young parents or the child of a young parent themselves. All of our volunteers are background checked, so we're not just throwing them in, and they are trained. We're making sure that they are teaching the curriculum so that we're, staying true to the fidelity of the program because that's important to us. But then we have other volunteers. We allow our participants, if they don't have someone safe at home to leave their child with, then they can bring that child with them. And we have volunteers that will watch those children. And that is typically, you have your students who need service hours, and it's kind of like babysitting, or you have your retirees who just want to be around little ones again. They just get so much joy out of being around the little ones. So again, all background checked, but we love having them. We have a great group of volunteers right now. We've been 2 years without anyone in our building and no babies. And so everybody's like, oh, we want those babies. We want to get our hands on those babies now.
And since COVID, I'm guessing a lot of things have changed.
Yeah, we had to switch our programming to virtual, and it had an impact on us. I think that it helped in some ways because a lot of our participants have transportation issues. That is our biggest hurdle to reaching more people in the community, is that we don't offer transportation. And some of our participants aren't even old enough to have a license yet. And so then they are depending on other people to bring them back and forth to our groups each week. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. If you have a 13-year-old, I mean, they obviously can't drive. Just because they had a kid, they can't just go ahead and get a license.
Or a job.
Yeah, or a job. I mean, I didn't even think about that. That makes it even tougher.
And so how do they get their kids to the doctor's office? How do they, and so this is really why we need to make sure the whole family is involved, because there are so many, the child needs to go to the doctor's office, especially when they're little, on a, monthly, every other month kind of basis. And how are they getting there? How are they making sure that, those children are getting their immunizations when they need them? And do they understand the importance of all that? Do they understand the importance of taking your child to those doctor's visits? They may seem routine to a young person, but we know that there's benefits to going and having those immunizations done on time and making sure they're on track and developmentally. And we just want to make sure that these parents know that.
I had two questions that kind of relate around finance. So did some research. You guys do something called Baby Bucks, if I'm correct. So I'd love to talk on that a little bit. And then also I'd love to talk about, funding for the program in general. Is it all donor-based, or are you guys getting help from schools? Do you need more volunteers? Do you need more funding in general? I guess, around the whole financial aspect, if you could touch on that as well.
Sure. I'll start with the Baby Bucks.
Okay.
we operate on an earn while you learn system. So our participants come to us and we say, okay, if you come to group every week, we will give you a baby buck. If you participate in group, we will give you a baby buck. If you continue going to school, we'll give you a baby buck. We have incentives with baby bucks attached for everything. And so what happens is twice during our program, they get to go shop in our baby boutique. And there is anything in there from household goods to personal hygiene items, all the baby, things that they may need, whether it be essentials like baby wash, diapers, things like that, or the bigger things, strollers, car seats, high chairs. The baby bucks have a dollar for dollar match. So if a stroller is $50 at Walmart, for instance, our baby bucks, it would cost $50. So there is some budgeting that goes into this because they have the opportunity to shop halfway through the program. So they could spend all their baby bucks then. But if they want something bigger, then they have to save those baby bucks and wait until the end of the program to get that bigger item that they want. It's worked out really well. It's a great incentive. Teenagers love incentives. And so that is definitely one of the things that, especially for the ones who aren't going to have those big baby showers that some of, the typically aged parents have, or they just don't have a job because they're too young. I can't afford a car seat. We want to make sure that this child is going home in a safe car seat. And so that is definitely an incentive for them. So the Earn While You Learn is a great system. And like I said, definitely some budgeting in there because I have to make sure that I have enough baby bucks at the end for whatever I need. As far as the funding for Little Steps, we have 3 major funders who are Greenville First Steps, Greenville Health Authority, and the United Way of Greenville. The rest of the funding that we get is through businesses and private donors. We get no state or federal funding, nothing through the schools or anything like that. So funding we have been affected by the economy and is one of the things we will be kicking off a capital campaign next month to continue our programming. So what we'd like to do is add another staff member to make sure that we can serve the whole family. And also we are really trying to get out into the community. We'd love to partner with a church or a business over on White Horse Road. We know that a lot of our participants who don't have transportation are coming from that area. And so what we'd like to do is find a location that it's easier for them to get to. Right now we're on Woodruff Road. It's a little bit tougher for them to get over there. But if it was a 5-minute drive versus a 15 or 20-minute drive, we think that there could be a great impact in that area.
What's the best way for funding? Is that usually through like fundraisers, capital campaigns? Can you donate on the website? I guess, can you talk a little bit about that for people that are interested? Yeah,
so we'll be kicking off our capital campaign. There will be something all over our social media and on our website for that, and as well as in our newsletter. We are always looking for people who enjoy putting together fundraisers and events. To help with that, we will be planning stuff for probably the fall. We are looking at a couple of different fundraisers for then. We had a 15th anniversary gala at the Gasway Mansion planned for May of 2020.
Oh, no. Terrible timing.
Yes, terrible timing. And so now it seems sort of silly to have a 17-year anniversary. So we have put that off, but would still like to do something this coming May. We used to do a Better Together event to spread awareness and to raise funding for the organization. And I think that that's something that we're going to try to bring back, maybe use the Gasway Mansion for that and find something else for the 20th anniversary.
That's awesome. Well, one question I had just before I let Anthony here ask our signature question, what's your biggest tip, your biggest encouragement for people that maybe aren't in your program yet, that are in that age range, and they're either expecting or they just had a young kid? Can you give us like your best tip or encouragement that you would give them?
Yeah, I think that the best thing is to just tell them your life is not over. Your life is going in a different direction than you had anticipated, but your life is not over.
Awesome. Yeah, that's can't beat that advice. So that's awesome.
Signature question. What makes you tick?
I did my research on this, and I knew this was coming.
Smart.
And I think it's very cliche, but it's my family. It really is. I love spending time with them. I loved the young years, but my kids are between 14 and 25 now. They are so much fun now. We get to travel a lot together, and it's just so different than when they were little. It was so stressful back then. And I just really, really enjoy being with them.
Awesome. Well, Well, can you tell our audience, where's the best way to find you guys? What social medias do you guys use? If they're interested in learning more about a capital campaign coming up or donating, what would be the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram and we're on Facebook. Those are the two social media platforms that we're on right now. Our website is littlestepssc.org. There's all kinds of information about our programming, how to get involved, different ways to donate on the website there. Or you can call 864-243-8694. And we're happy to answer any questions or bring you in and have you tour our facility and see what we do. I always say I think it's you get a more clear indication of what we do when you come to our facility. It's really set up very homey and more like a home. We have a living room. We do our groups in a living room.
Awesome.
Is how we do that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And like I said, this has been awesome. I loved learning about this. It, kind of hits home to me because I'm obviously young, don't have kids yet, but, I could definitely see that impact, and glad you guys are, doing such a huge impact on the community. I think that's very noticeable and very admirable.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Anytime. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Connected by Community, brought to you by Ballantine Capital Advisors. Please tune in to all of our social medias. We're on Facebook, YouTube, all of the podcast platforms as well. Until we see you again, go out and make our community great. Thanks.